It's episode 28 of Chit Chat, and that means it's time for our Essen 2018 preview. We talk about all the new games coming to the birthplace of modern board gaming, and we're each going to run down our top 5 most anticipated releases. Welcome back to Chit Chat. This is episode 28, and it's a very special episode because this is our Essen preview. In fact, this is going to be airing the Monday just before Essen. So you might have heard about some of these games, but we're going to go through each of our top 5 games for Essen that we're looking forward to. Know what we've been playing. We're just going to stick to the Essen list. But before we do that, we've got a winner from last week's, or 2 weeks ago's episode of Junk Orbit.
Yeah, so Junk Orbit, Amanda Sprunger, you have won. So please contact us at manvsmeeple@gmail.com. Everyone else now has the opportunity to win Human Era. Just make a comment below and you'll automatically be entered to win.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar, this is a time-traveling social deduction game.
Looks very cool.
Check it out. So, Essen top 5. There's a ton of in fact, how many Essen games are there? Like 1,200 almost?
Yeah.
1,200, yeah.
And I don't really think we have a criteria for this. Like, some of them may be games that we've already played.
Yep.
Some of them may be games that we're expecting. I think all of them probably that we picked games that are for sale, though, right? Is that?
All mine are for sale.
I think all of mine are for sale.
I think I have a demo one.
Oh.
Just
And
to
well, I
get-
would definitely have a demo one for
but-
that case, but mine
Yeah,
are for
well,
sale.
I think because the Kickstarter's coming soon.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And it has been hard. The good news is that a lot of these Essen games, sometimes we get a little bit more access to them
Yeah,
sooner.
absolutely.
And they're coming out like,
Right.
you can usually get them pretty easily. You don't even have to mule a lot of them as much anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's get down to the list. Let's start with Ryan.
Okay, I will start with my number 5, which is PAX Transhumanity. And this is the next game in a long line of PAX games. I think PAX Renaissance was the last one. And these games always have a lot of things I like: card drafting, tableau building, things like that. PAX Transhumanity is a little different, and it's a little unique. It takes place in a human utopia where humans have reached like a increased level of like thinking and scientific breakthroughs, and we're not cooperating, but we are cooperatively engine building in that we are picking cards to kind of push our resources to, and they get added to like a global tableau that affects all of us. And it's kind of, you're creating a branching tech tree. Of course, whoever contributes the most to each of these technologies is going to score the most points. But it seems like a cool twist on that PAX formula that, I mean, there's been so many PAX games, but this one just, the theme and the artwork look really cool.
All right, my first one is Passing Through Petra from Renegade Games. It's designed by the same guy that did Sentient. So it's a card drafting, set collection, worker placement, and then you're basically, when you look at it and you see the game, you'll see like this little path. And so you're a settlement along this path, and traders are going through, and what you're doing is you're trying to get your settlement to be the biggest settlement among everybody else by interacting with these traders that are coming through. And I think it's going to be actually a bit of a race game, because I was reading, as soon as the first person, you're trying to build influence, the first person to put down their 9th influence cube, the game ends immediately. So there's going to be obviously a little bit of a race aspect to this, but it looks really neat. I love the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork's awesome.
When you look at the box, if you're like, that looks familiar, that's from Indiana Jones, you know, but it's the treasury building there at Petra. So it looks really neat.
So my number 5 is one of those games that we've had the chance to play, and that is Carpe Diem. Whether I had a chance to play it or not, this is one that everyone should be looking forward to. We really liked it. We have a review up actually for it already. This is the newest one, or one of the newest ones from Stefan Feld. It's a tile placement game, tile sort of drafting, or you're acquiring the tiles anyway, putting them on your board, triggering all sorts of things like any good Feld game should. You haven't played it, right?
I have not.
But you have,
I
Ryan?
have. I've played a couple times.
So most of us have played it. It is a solid Feld for sure. I know a lot of people have been talking about Stefan Feld. He's got a great history, maybe in the last few years. He's had some highs, some lows. I'd say this one's closer to the highs. Personally, I think this one's going to be in my top 5 Stefan Feld games.
Oh, for sure.
People can get past the graphic design and the art,
Yeah.
which isn't totally spectacular, but the gameplay is solid.
A tad dry.
Yeah, for sure. So my number 5 was just announced a week or two ago. It's called Blackout Hong Kong. It's an area control, hand management, deck pool building type of game in which Hong Kong's been struck by this giant blackout, and players are trying to manage resources and rebuild the city, so to speak. Alexander Pfister is the main reason I chose this. Alexander Pfister, Mombasa, and of course Great Western Trail, and a variety of other fantastic games.
What a hack.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite designers, and I can't imagine not wanting to play this. I don't know a lot about the game. I haven't read the rules, so other than what I just explained there, the name alone drew me in. 4.
All right, my number 4 is Terraforming Mars Colonies, which I've been looking forward to for a long time. Terraforming Mars is one of my favorite games. I play it a lot, even just in solo mode. Maybe one of my most played games this year. So Colonies looks really cool. It adds, the standard things you'd expect to add. New cards, new companies to play and things like that. But it adds this whole new mechanic of taking some of the resources that you would generate and shipping them off to these different colonies and trying to complete these colony objectives that are going to give you victory points. So it gives you something else to do during the game, another way to score points.
So just like fulfillable objective type things?
That's kind of like basically what they boil down to, yeah.
Just more ways to score points.
More ways to score points, more decisions to have to make on your turn, and more things to do with your resources, which all of those things are things I like.
What is this, the 4th expansion?
They've put out a
I
ton.
don't know.
This is the
This
same.
could go
you
on
play
forever.
all the expansions at
yeah,
once?
absolutely,
Okay.
Yeah. Except it will rip the space-time continuum if you do.
Right. Or crash your table you're playing on.
That's that deck of cards, because they're all unique cards.
Yeah, no,
It's going to be an
That's a
issue at
lot
some
of
point.
Yeah, card tower.
If you've sleeved those cards, I defy you to stack them. It's like going to be leaning over like this.
Be Jenga.
That's hilarious.
We're poking a lot of fun. Obviously, a lot of us we all like Terraforming.
Yeah, it's
a great
Ryan
game.
loves it. I love
do.
it a lot too. What's your number 4?
Okay, my number 4 is a game called Imnia from Black Sea Interactive. And what this is a
Always
card...
count on Gary for some random game.
This is the demo. I think they were wanting it to be out earlier in the Kickstarter. Earlier this year, didn't happen. I think the Kickstarter's coming up soon. Or they also said maybe even on Indiegogo. So we'll see. But basically, it is a strategic medieval city building civ game. Okay? And the object of the game is you're doing, basic civ building. You're getting resources and stuff. But the person who wins is the first one to build a wonder of the world. And there's going to be 4 wonders that are out there. So you're looking and you're building your civilization, trying to gather the resources and people necessary to build one of the wonders. And once you've built the wonder, now the game ends. So
Is that the winner? Because you
That's
had
the-
me at Civ, but you lost me at Race. So
well,
is
that's
is
the winner, but I'm
Or is it just
guessing
the game
it
ends and then you
sounds.
score
That's the other
points?
thing. I don't know how balanced it is,
Okay.
but it does seem to be fairly balanced. A lot of people have played it.
Well, what's the
over
name
in
of it
Europe,
again?
called Imnia.
Imnia.
Imnia. And so some people have played it in final form and said it goes well. It's about a 90 minutes, 2-hour civ game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't always count on Gary.
No,
right
that's
now.
a new one.
This is this
So-
year's
and the
Michael
art looks really
Strogoff.
neat. Yeah. Which is okay.
Right. Yeah. All right. So my number 4 is also Passing Through Petra. I won't talk about it too much more, but I did actually have the chance to play this. Oh boy, it was probably a year and a half ago now when Renegade was looking at this thing and considering it. Some of us went out there to sort of like do some play testing of games they were considering, and this was one of them, and it was in paper format. And it's probably, of the week I was out there, the best game that I'd played that week. And yeah, it's really cool because these tiles that are moving down this sort of lane, and in the final board, they're actually going to have like mountains built up around it.
Oh, wow.
You take these tiles, and when you put them on your player board, they also move through a lane. That's like your little marketplace, and you're trying to make the market stalls. There's a lot of timing involved because you want the market stalls to be just right for when the right person
Passes
comes
by.
through.
Right.
And then they come out of the other side. And then there's a number of different, if I remember correctly, and it could have gone through some development, a number of different little influence tracks that I can move up here, 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 or here. And people are going to choose which ones they want to move up, which ones they don't want to focus on, that sort of thing. But
Yeah, the pictures show these dials.
Yeah.
It looks really interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too.
And it's kind of a Euro for Renegade.
For sure, for
So,
sure. This
yeah.
is a Euro, and it's probably one of their first original Euros. I mean, they've picked up
Yeah.
some like Altiplano and stuff like
Right.
that. But
All right, my number 4 is Endeavor Age of Sail, and I'm kind of cheating because we already have the game. I kickstarted it. I know you kickstarted as well.
Yep.
I don't think any of you guys have played Endeavor before,
No, I
have you?
haven't.
And I'm so excited to teach you guys this because The original game came out years ago, and it was a Z-Man title. This is, in my opinion, one of the classic and best Z-Man titles. I'm still a huge fan of Z-Man games because they've always been the company that brought out Euro games. And this is a re-implementation of the original Endeavor. They've done a few things different. Number one, it's no longer a 3 to 5 player game, it's a 2 to 5 player game. So they opened up the gameplay space for 2 players, which is huge. Number two, they've also added exploits, which is a set of boards that you can add to the game to give you already more variability in the game. Now, the game itself is about building trade routes in the New World. You're starting from Europe and you're building trade routes all across the world and gaining glory for your colony, so to speak. Fantastic game, so simple to play, very easy to learn, but tons and tons of depth in playing the game. So,
well, and the components in this version look insane.
yeah, so if you have not played Endeavor, I invite you guys to go play it because I can't imagine any of you guys, at least, not enjoying the game.
I'm excited to play it.
It's really good. All right, 3.
All right, 3. My number 3 is Solenia from the same designer that did Trois, which is a great game. This looks a little out of his wheelhouse. It's a little different in...
Looks very different, too.
It looks very different. It's about a planet where the planet does not rotate. And so there is always a light side of the board and a night. And everybody has 16 cards in your hand, and the game is playing those 16 cards. So you know at the beginning of the game what you've got to do. And these cards are multi-use. Depending on where you play them or what you use them for, you're going to be doing a bunch of different actions. There's a ship that's moving through this board, and you can only play cards where the ship is. And so there's a lot of timing going on with this.
Yeah.
A lot of decisions to be made. And I love multi-use cards, having to decide what you want to do with those cards every turn.
The cover of that box is
Super
amazing.
cool.
And then I'll play anything that he makes.
Yeah, I'm
Cool. All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit on number 3.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. But
Michael
expansions
Strogoff?
is my number 3. So I got 4 quick expansions. You just throw up the cover picture of them.
4 expansions equal 1 game?
Yeah,
okay.
that's right.
Go for it.
I mean, there's just, I got to have these. Great Western Trail, Rails of the North, we've talked about. Santa Maria, American Kingdoms.
Yep.
Isle of Skye, Druids.
Yep.
And Merlin Arthur expansion.
Oh.
And the Merlin Arthur expansion looks really neat. There's a new rondelle in it that sits on the base board. So you still have the Merlin track, and now you're going to have an Arthur track. They add the Picts, that group of people that lived up in Scotland around those times. Because remember in Merlin, there's a difficulty in getting resources.
Yeah.
They're pretty limited. This exchanges the difficulty of getting resources for a difficulty in timing of getting certain things and some of those banners. So I'm like, wow, that sounds really interesting because I like Merlin. I enjoyed it, but the resource part was a little wonky and just kind of frustrating. This seems to fix that and change it up a little bit.
Interesting.
So those 4 expansions, I'm just... Well, 2 of them are Fister, so
Yeah, right.
I'm getting those.
So many good expansions. Not only that, but you have the Newsford expansion, First Class, Feast for Odin,
7 Wonders.
Caverna.
7 Wonders,
Caverna.
Caverna. I mean, we could make a whole list
Right, we
of
could
these
just do an
incredible
expansion list.
expansions, right?
Yeah, that is kind of a sick list in terms of like
Yeah,
the caliber of
it's
games
super
that are
solid.
getting them.
that are getting that.
Yeah.
And Castle of Burgundy has more
Yeah.
boards I heard are coming out.
just more boards.
Yeah, but
It's
every
not
time they bring
David-
out boards, oh yeah,
Castle
you're
of Burgundy,
a new
no,
one?
David.
What? Speaking of Castles of Burgundy, my number 3 is Forum Trajanum. This is Stefan Feld's other Essen release. This one is, I don't know much about this one. This definitely looks, though, to be the significantly heavier game of his compared to Carpe Diem. This one's coming from Stronghold over here. I don't...
Stronghold.
Is it Hutch? Hutch over there. Hutch over there. So that's going to be at Essen, and I think we're going to be taking a peek at a copy sometime soon.
Next week.
Next week, hopefully.
very
So
cool.
hopefully we'll have maybe a quick look at that and maybe even a review up for it around.
Oh, we'll get a
Essen
review
time.
up. We'll play it immediately. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're definitely going to play it. So I'm definitely looking forward to anything Stefan Feld for me, really. I'll try.
My number 3 is another cheat. It's Teotihuacan, 1 to 4 player, Daniel Tassini, the guy who did Zolkin. We covered this back at Gamma originally, and
played it
then
at
Midsummer. It's just now seeing release, but we've had access to it for a while. It's a fantastic, I don't want to say it's worker placement. It's kind of like a giant rondelle with modular boards, but your workers are dice that will strengthen up and level up. Ton of variability in this game. It takes place during Mesoamerica, Aztecs. Go check out our review and everything else we've done. Love the
it's a good
game.
game.
Yeah.
Love that game.
Really good.
I can't wait till people start playing it because I think it's going to very high up for a lot of people this year.
No, I think it's going to be pretty
It's
high
probably
up
it'll be
for
in
you,
my
right?
top 3 easily. So yeah.
All right,
Number two,
my
Ryan.
number 2 is Azul, Stained Glass of Sintra. Azul was great. Loved
Here we
Azul.
go with the Azuls.
Played Azul so many times. I mean, countless times with my wife. Like, we just love to play Azul. And so this one looks like it changes the theme, obviously. You're making stained glass windows instead of the tile. But it looks like it gamifies Azul a little more. Gives you a little more to do. Variable boards, variable setup, and what you're trying to complete these different patterns and things like that. I hope it doesn't make it too gamery. Like, we've seen that before with a few expansions that make it too gamery and kind of ruin the fun of the game.
So this is a standalone. You don't mix this with a
Right,
regular
this
Azul.
this is a standalone, but it does use all the base rules and concepts of Azul. Just kind of adds in some more rules on top of them.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty cool game. It will be interesting to see if it... Like, the great thing about Azul is it's just so elegant, in my opinion. It's so simple. And we all like more gamery games, so definitely be looking forward to it.
One I'm interested in trying for sure. Really excited about it.
My number 2 is...
More expansions?
No.
No, okay.
I'm expanding on my expansions. Blackout, Hong Kong.
Okay.
It's Alexander Pfister, just like you said. I did actually read the rules.
All of them?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot.
Oh.
But just a real quick... is basically, like you said, there's been a blackout, and you have this group of specialists, and you're trying to control the chaos. So it uses some Mombasa Great Western Trail deck building aspects, but the resources and the networks that you're trying to get through are constantly changing each round. So there's a lot of timing and really trying to make sure you get it. So, I mean, you're just trying to outmaneuver your rivals, which are obviously the other players.
I'm making that now my number 4.
Maybe
my number 3. Yeah.
Interesting.
2?
All right, my number 2 is Underwater Cities.
Oh, yeah.
This one is from Vladimir
Suchi.
Suchi, who did Pulsar 2849, which went under my radar last year when it came out, but now it has really climbed in probably to my top 10. So I'm really looking forward to his next game. I've had a chance to read through the rules. I've watched, there's some videos out there in the world, not on our channel, unfortunately, but they're out there, so I've watched some of those too. This game looks good.
It's heavier too, right?
It does look like it's going to be heavier.
Than Pulsar.
And Pulsar is not like the easiest of teaches. I mean, it is a fairly simple game to play, but it's got overwhelming decisions.
Right.
This one has a lot going on. The player board, you're building a ton of like these little underwater domes and tunnels, and then little habitats off of those domes. The gameplay, though, you have cards that you're going to be accumulating. When you play a card, there's 3 different colors, and if you play the same color card with the worker placement place that you go to, you get to take the action on the card and the action in the worker placement spot. You can play a card that's not the right color, but then you only get the action of, I can't remember if it's either the card or it's just the space. But really a lot of cool combos are going on. It's going to be super satisfying. But again, a lot of iconography and a lot for new players to kind of digest.
My number 2 is Concordia Venus.
Yeah.
I don't really need to explain the game much. This is a standalone game, but also comes with an expansion. So you can buy it as a standalone or as an expansion to the original.
Oh.
All the content mixes with the old stuff. It's 3 new maps, 1 old map, and then the big draw here is that it can be played 2 to 5 players, but it can also be played 4 to 6 player now as teams, which sounds awesome.
Oh, interesting.
So,
All right.
1.
We're down to the
Number
number
one.
ones here. Everyone,
We
hold
are.
on.
My number 1 is Underwater Cities, which we just talked
All right.
about.
Glad I stole your thunder.
You did steal my
number
thunder a
1.
little bit, but it's okay because I think this game is going to be so good it deserves to be on here twice. Hopefully, hopefully that comment doesn't come back around. But for the same reasons that you liked it, David. I mean, I loved Pulsar. Once we started playing it, I just haven't stopped playing it. I still played it even just like 2 weeks ago. It's like still in my rotation. It's such a great game, and Underwater Cities uses those multi-purpose cards again. I like that idea of really having to think about when you want to play the card, because there's that timing aspect, right? It looks like you can really like build up for like some massive, huge combos in that, like playing those cards at the right time. So
I'm pretty sure Ryan only plays Azul, Pulsar, and Heaven and Ale.
Yeah, Heaven and Ale.
Are you still playing Heaven and
That's
Ale?
the rotation.
Have you played in a while?
Played a lot of Rising Sun this year too, though. So
Yeah.
don't forget about that.
All right, my number 1. I wonder if it's your number 1. Captains of the Gulf.
We'll see.
All right, from Spielworks, which actually you can go right now. There's only a limited release of this. I think 1,000 copies. You can go to BGG. It's pricey.
Yeah.
It's
how much
about
we talking?
$100 in the U.S. to buy it and have it shipped.
Man, it's such an ugly cover. But what am I missing here?
Tell
me about it.
I think the gameplay is just what kind of takes me, because you introduced me to La Granja.
Yeah.
So when you look at this game, it's got aspects of the
totally
the
brings
card
back memories of that.
Yes, the cards are multi-purpose, and where you place them on your board depends on, are you upgrading your ship? Are you getting better crew? Or if you play your cards, that's how you fish. You're a shrimp boat in Louisiana. So I like the theme, you know. And
It's not at all what I thought the theme was going to be based on the title.
Captains of the
Captains of the
Gulf.
Gulf?
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah, like
realize
the
it
Gulf
was-
of Mexico, I'm guessing,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you're just a shrimp boat captain, and you're just trying to build the best shrimp boat, and there's only, I think, 8 rounds, so you're
Say
working
shrimp boat again.
Shrimp boat.
I feel like they missed a
Shrimp
branding opportunity here.
Shrimp boat.
Yeah, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so,
my number one.
So, just to carry on, Gary, that is also my number one. This game, in fact, I don't even know too much about it other than what clearly looks like the multi-use cards that are at play. Just to give a little bit more detail, they look like they're used very much like they're used in La Granja, where there's something on the side of the card, there's something on the left side, there's something on the top, and you slide it in under your player board, and it modifies your ship, or it serves as the kind of things that you're pulling up in your nets, or adding crew to your ship that can help out.
Is it the same designers?
It is not the same designers.
Oh,
In fact,
interesting.
it's I apologize, I forget his name. I actually traded messages with him on BGG because I was trying to see if we could get a copy and do a review before Essen. But I think it's a guy that's based here in the States that put it together, and he's obviously a fan of La Granja, and he likes the multi-use cards. And there's other. La Granja is not the first one that did that. I think was it Glory to Rome did something like that
There's
too.
tons of
There's a bunch
Yeah.
of games that
multi-use
have done that kind
multi-use
of
cards.
thing.
I was reading some other stuff. They said Arkwright. There's some. If you've played Arkwright, there's
Oh,
some similar mechanics also in this game
Oh,
from Arkwright.
really?
The way the card play. That's
Yeah.
what I was reading. So
So that's my number one as well.
My number one is Forum Trajanum, same as yours. Stefan Feld, Michael Menzel art, 2 to 4 player. From what I'm hearing, this is a heavier game than Bruges and Castles of Burgundies, but holds some of those same elements of both of those games. You are working for the Emperor, who's Trajan at the time, and you're building your own colonia or colony, but you're also trying to contribute to him as well. It's like a drafting game. You're taking tiles, and you're taking one of those tiles, and you're passing another tile to another player, so you're building up their engine as well, so to speak. So I'm excited to try it. I like Feld, I like tile placement, and I like the fact that it's a heavier game than both Bruges and Castles of
Would
Burgundy.
you say it's kind of? That sounds like it's maybe in the Bora Bora Trajan.
No idea.
weight?
No
I gotta
idea.
play Trajan. I haven't even played it yet, but I
No.
know isn't somebody redoing that? In fact, I know they
Renegade's
are.
bringing
Renegade.
Trajan
Renegade's
out.
bringing Trajan
Yeah.
back. Okay. Yeah.
It's just really just a reprint
Just
though,
a
with a new box. That's it.
nicer components,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any
All right.
other outliers that we
Yeah,
wanted
I
to
have
mention?
I have some
Honorable mentions.
I didn't mention this one because this was actually a Kickstarter that's supposed to be released at Essen, but it's a GUGONG-GAME, which that game looks. I mean, we've played it, and it plays really, really well. And
Yeah,
it's, But it looks amazing. I mean, the final production of this game is top notch.
Yeah, it's
Oh yeah, the
fantastic.
production, the game is fantastic
Yeah.
too. It is probably, if someone asked me to name a middleweight or a medium weight Euro from this year that like really nailed it, that
Oh, yeah.
one
This
seems perfectly medium weight Euro to me.
Same designer as Hansa Teutonico, which is
Yeah.
another one of my favorite
Right.
games. So
Gary?
One I saw just kind of interesting because I think it's a little bit more easier to middleweight or light to middleweight is Smartphone Inc.
Oh yeah, someone
So it
sent
looks
me
really,
a box cover of that.
yeah, it looks really kind of interesting. I was reading on it. One of the cool mechanics is it's only a few rounds. Basically, you're like Apple or Samsung, and you're trying to build the best smartphone and to distribute around the world and get the most, people to buy it and sign up for your phone or whatever. But one of the mechanics is there's a little bit of programming before. And so you get like a programming pad, and there's only so many things you can do each round. You can't do everything, and then you just lift up your boards, and then do your programming and see how people are moving around. Like, oh boy, they're really going after, I don't know, Wi-Fi technology, and I'm behind on that. Maybe I need to start working on that. So it takes programming, which can be a hit or miss sometimes.
And you're using that to move pieces on the board to
Yeah, well, as you're growing your smartphone company to make your phone better and better quality and bigger service worldwide, and you're putting cubes on, on this big map of the world.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it looks really kind of interesting, but they said it's not too terribly hard. It's like a really good entryway. That's what this guy, he's a new designer. He wanted to have like a new entry game, and he's going with smartphones. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have like 8 more expansions to share?
No.
No? Okay. I've got just 2 that I want to mention. We are going to have reviews. We have a review up on one of these right now and one coming soon, and that is Silk and Fertility. Silk from Devir. Is it Devir? Mm-hmm. Excellent little game. Highly recommend it. It's an abstract game that has a really cool theme, if you will. Looks like a Miyazaki movie. Really fun game and can be kind of mean, which I don't usually like, but I like this one. And then Fertility, which is a unique name, but it's more about fertile grounds in Egypt. It's a tile placement game where you're placing tiles communally out on this board and then sort of fulfilling these little tiles that you're putting on your board by gathering resources. Really clean, simple game. Both of those are Essen releases.
Silk is fantastic. Well, probably one of my favorite games this year.
Yeah.
2 games I'll mention. Well, one's not a game. One's the Advent Calendar, which
Oh,
every
yeah.
time you go to Essen, luckily I have a mule bringing me back. That they're so expensive, but I think more conventions should have those things. Like promo cards are just awesome, and there's so many good promos.
Yeah.
this
One
year.
of the good thing about the promos for Essen is they're all euros. So
Yeah,
Well,
exactly,
they're all-
right?
And they're
good
all
promos.
pretty recent and relevant.
Yeah, there's like
this year, that's like
Teotihuacan,
Teotihuacan is
yeah.
on there.
Oh, really?
That's
Yeah.
crazy amount of new
GUGONG
games.
has a promo. in
GUGONG.
there.
It's almost like they do
Okay.
promos just for that
It's
calendar.
amazing. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
The
You're
other
not
one
gonna
I'll
give it other
mention is we see it over there. It's called Escape Tales: The Awakening, and I'm a huge fan of unlock games, story-driven games. I wasn't previously, but now I love them. We had a chance to play like the first room, so
Yeah,
to
basically
speak.
the first room, first location.
Yeah,
An
it's-
hour's worth,
Yeah,
right?
but it does the unlock, the whole escape room thing a little bit differently because you're planning out this room, and then the way it handles the clues. You have a story book that you're going
Yeah.
through.
And I love
the story's super
I
interesting.
love the
But
book.
the story itself, there's more of a story.
Absolutely,
It felt like
There's a story.
It felt like you were in the middle of a narrative, which you don't get from the Unlock
With
series.
branching decisions you have to make
Yeah.
too. Which
Yes,
is
that's another
super
unique thing.
interesting for an unlock. Like moments where you have to choose one path or the other.
Which
Right.
we found
in fact,
very early.
you can
Yeah.
see in some of the sections where like go here if you had done this, or go here if you had done this. So it makes you wonder, makes you want to play it again.
Right.
Yeah, and the fact that they use like the location tiles out and everything, it simulates the unlock experience where you're looking around the room in unlock or in an escape room. You're looking around the room and saying like, "Oh, what's that thing over there?" You can look at the image and be like, "Well, what's in the corner?"
Yeah.
You look at the little grid and
It
you
gives
can look
you
in the book and
some
see,
good
you know,
sort of spatial context for where you
Right,
are and what's
exactly.
happening.
Yeah.
really
Very cool.
Well, cool. That is our Essen preview for 2018, plus a little extra.
Yeah.
That almost felt like our top 6.5. But anyway, that's
Top
what
9.
we've got going for Essen. What are you looking forward to? Definitely share down in the comments below. We want to hear what you're looking forward to at Essen. If there's stuff that we were looking forward to, you're like, what? No, come on.
Especially obscure titles. We want to hear those.
we want to
Yeah.
know obscure titles like the ones Gary brings up most of the time. But share those in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching. Well, that's another episode of Chit Chat in the Bag. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out another one, there's probably one right over here in the bottom left-hand corner, or probably your right-hand corner. Whatever corner, we have something to click on. So click on one of these things and good things will happen.